Welcome into Emerald and Lilywhite. This is episode 43. We're back after another week off. As we said on the last show, just some life stuff going on. So we appreciate everybody's patience as we've been a little more intermittent than we usually are here at Emerald and Lilywhite. But again, it's episode 43. We're ready to rock. We got a lot to talk about. Just the dynamic duo today, Max and I, the original crew. You can find me at Scott G. Bird, Max at Going Limbs. What's up, man?
Not much. Got through against Frankfurt, which is the big thing this week, and then came back down to earth against Forest. But we move, and we potentially get to see the title decider on Sunday and be a part of that, and then we move right into our Europa League game. So it's an exciting time, I guess, for Spurs. So a favorable draw, which we'll definitely touch on, and we're like a really good performance on Thursday, and then another half decent performance away from being in a European final again somehow. So yeah, it's interesting. It's just going to be, of all the seasons we chose to like start this podcast, this has got to be the most interesting one ever. Like, I don't even know what I'm seeing right now. Like, it's actually insane.
Honestly, you're spot on, man. It's like the year one of Emerald and Lilywhite is going to be the year we probably finish 17th in the Premier League, but also could be the year that we win the Europa League. So super weird. Like you said, Nottingham Forest humbled Spurs, brought that back down to earth. But there is nothing this season like a Premier League game to bring Spurs back down to earth. We've seen that time and time again, right? So pretty par for the course. Very just, again, reflective of the season that has been Tottenham Hotspur 2024-2025. Let's talk about the Europa League for a second, though. We actually haven't podcasted since Spurs got through away at Frankfurt in the quarter. Sorry, the quarterfinals. It's been so long, I can't remember what round of the competition it was. But like I said, we haven't even podcasted since the triumphant victory in Germany. The first thing I'm going to say, and I'm sure you and I were both equally shocked by this, because we have probably been the harshest two on this show with regards to the Postecoglou tactics / inflexibility.
I mean, I don't know if either of us is the harshest.
I mean, no, maybe Chang is too. Now that I think about it, but well, we've been right there nipping on his heels with regard to the discontent with what we've seen. But Ange Postecoglou put up a defensive masterclass in Frankfurt. I was shocked. Walk me through how you felt watching that match.
Yeah, dude. It was nothing we'd seen from Ange before, I'd say, like, at all. Like, if you look at the Anfield leg, like, I guess that was like a woeful attempt at doing the same thing that we did in Frankfurt. But, we go ahead on a penalty. I mean, we didn't exactly create many chances that were, like, I don't know, super clear cut. Like, I think we deserved to go through, like, over the course of both legs. I thought we were the better team. But defensively, especially, like, the changes he made, bringing on Sarr to, like, shore up the midfield, bringing on Danzo, which is a change he would never have made before. And that was a bold one. And it really worked out. Like, Danzo, the perfect closer. I guess, like, Josh Hader-esque figure for Tottenham Hotspur. He's on my fantasy baseball team, so shout out to him. He's been cooking this year. But bringing on the closer and we finishing out the job is something that we have not seen Postecoglou do at all, really, over his tenure. So this was a rare clean sheet win in a knockout quarterfinal where it had to be done. And it was so nice just getting to watch Lazio and United go through those extra time battles, just already being in the semifinals. Obviously, the Lazio one broke our way big time. Like, I honestly had no faith after they equalized in the 93rd. I was like, oh, it's over. Like, Bodo-Glimt they're done. But they responded huge, like, coming back after being down 3-0. Essentially, they came back, equalized, one on the penalty shootout, and then the United game, I mean, was ridiculous. I bet we were all
Nuts.
cheering for Lyon, but I mean, Bilbao is looking really good right now, and
Yeah,
all the hypotheticals that we've talked about are kind of coming to fruition a little bit. So we've highlighted Bilbao since the jump,
yeah,
and I would be shocked if they don't make the final, and that would be a home game for them, which is it's kind of unfortunate. We didn't talk about Bodo-Glimt, but I do want to highlight they did win the penalty shootout. They also did not look good at penalties. So if
yeah.
it comes to that, like
Agreed.
I'm feeling pretty good, dude. They looked really shit as well. Lazio was just somehow worse. So
Dude, the
yeah,
interesting thing about Vicario is we haven't seen him take many penalties throughout his entire tenure at Spurs, but
that's
the dude's
true.
a shot stopper at close range. He's proven that time and time and time again. Questionable in other areas of his goalkeeping, right? But when it comes to close range shot stopping, I back Vicario to do pretty well. So I agree with you 100%. The only thing I'll say about the Liverpool match, or sorry, the Frankfurt match before we move on, because at this point, the listener, we know y'all have heard tons and tons of content around the match in Frankfurt, right? We know we're behind the pace here, but the last thing I'm going to say before we talk about Bodo-Glimt and what comes next is the one hole that I can poke in the Ange Postecoglou masterclass is that we looked a lot better when Kulusevski came on, and that's not a dig at Madison. Madison's my boy. Madison put his body on the line to win that penalty, and the club and the team and everybody owes Madison a massive debt for winning that penalty in the manner that he did. But I do think that we looked really good when Kulusevski came on. I think prior to Kulusevski being in the midfield, we didn't look like we had the control that we ended up having. Again, we played a defensive match, but Kulusevski, I think, allowed us to do that and keep a little bit more possession than we would have had he not have come on when he did. But again, and that's also not to say that Madison was a problem. I would have loved to have both of them on the field, but Ange Postecoglou was forced to make a change that I think did benefit his tactical approach too. So I'll say that. But again, shout out to Ange Postecoglou for getting it done, and shout out to Dom Solanke for sliding the penalty. It's interesting. It looks like Tell was maybe trying to take it, and you see Ange shouting from the sideline, Dom, Dom, Dom.
Dude, I wanted Tell over Dom, to be
Me
honest.
too.
Like, I
I
low-key
wanted Tell
thought
to
Dom
take
was
that
gonna
too.
miss. I was like, dude, does this guy even have bottle? Like, I don't know. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Tell is cold, bro. Like, he does
He
not
is
care. Like, he has ice in his veins. But
totally,
I
man.
just did a little bit of FB reffing. Uh, 39 penalties in his professional career. Vicario saved 5.
Uh,
So,
yeah,
I
probably
mean,
average.
what is that? 8%?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not exactly inspiring, but I
No.
mean, let
No.
me look up Kinski.
Yeah,
Let me
great
get
call. Yeah, well,
Kinski.
you do
Well, I
that.
guess he can't play. He can't play. So it's actually a moot point.
Yeah, he's not registered. Vicario is a
Yeah.
net 1,000%. We know that.
I
Let's
mean,
talk
he's had
about
some shocking games.
he has, and
Do you want to segue? Forrest, he was
yeah.
horrible.
Let's talk about Forest briefly, and then let's look ahead to Bodo-Glimt and kind of talk big picture Europa League stuff. Forest, absolute shit show. I don't think that like anyone, including myself, is surprised or shocked that we lost to Forest. They've been great this year. We've been awful. That's a team that tactically we're set up to fail against 90 out of 100 times. You know, we've talked about it ad nauseum on this show. The way that Ange Postecoglou sides can't break down a low block, they leave themselves super exposed to get broken on. Just a recipe for disaster. But anything in that game other than Vicario, which I know you want to talk about, stand out to you?
Dude, Vicario was really, really poor.
Yeah,
And that's just multiple Prem games in a row. Like he honestly didn't get tested against Frankfurt. Like
yeah,
there's not a save off the top of my head like there so often is that I was like, wow, he really like kept us in that one.
yeah,
Um, we defended really well, so that didn't happen. Both the center backs getting subbed at halftime was weird. Like
yeah,
I just like I don't know like what even to say. That I just want to note that that was really weird. Like I
yeah.
don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Super
Um,
weird.
And then the wing play was fantastic. Tell Odebear creating a lot of chances. Tell specifically, he's getting in super dangerous areas. He's looking super dangerous, and the end product is just not there at all. He
Yeah.
just was really wasteful for me. And that's not to say he had a bad game. He played well. But like when you compare him to Son and Johnson, and Son gets a lot of flack for being wasteful, but I mean, these younger wingers are a lot more wasteful than Son or Johnson. And then Richarlison getting the goal. I don't know if it's tactics. I don't know if it's movement. I don't know what it is, but he's getting in much more dangerous areas than Dominic Solanke, and it feels like he scores every time he plays for Tottenham. And he also missed some sitters this game, so I'm not gonna big him up too much, but he did grab the goal while Solanke was also on the pitch, which should be noted. And
Hmm.
then
Yeah.
I just think like Solanke, as much praise as we've given him this season, um, he has underperformed his XG, so I'm not going to call him like the lethal, like clinical finisher either.
Yeah.
As of right now, from what I've seen, Richarlison's looked the more dangerous. Although we did just touch on a cold penalty from Dom as well. Like I assume Dom is going to be the one that goes on Thursday, but you know, if it were me picking the lineup, I think I lean towards the pigeon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that anyone's going to like vehemently disagree with you on that take. I agree. I think it'll be Dom, but Richarlison has looked dangerous. I also really liked what I seen with from Tell. I agree with you. Again, the end product's not there, but that's going to come. I mean, right now, I think it's most important that he's playing within the system correctly and getting into dangerous areas. As a new 19-year-old, in his first half season with the club, so I don't stress that too much, especially considering league matches. Like honestly, who gives a shit at this point? I mean, of course I want to win, but if we're getting dudes reps and getting them bedded into the system in the league, then I'm not gonna complain too much.
I also
But
thought
yeah,
Kulu was bad.
he had a rough one too. I agree with
Yeah.
you 100%. I agree with you 100%. I know Ange mentioned fatigue and getting him minutes maybe when he didn't need to. He also mentioned that the Van de Ven and Romero subs were by design. That was always the plan, which I thought was
But just
interesting.
don't fucking play them. Like
Yeah,
what? Like
exactly.
Davies and Danzo have not started a game in like a long time, or maybe since like
Yeah, and he's
Wolves.
always worried about getting guys minutes. So I think that was a weird decision. I would play.
Do you think
I
it
would
was
play.
because of the media frustration from Van de Ven? Like, I don't, I don't know what other reason to even play those guys. They
I
just
mean,
played
there
on
was.
Thursday. It was
Yeah, there
Thursday to
was.
Monday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they had almost a week off. After that match too, so I think they could have
Yeah,
gotten a rest after the match. They didn't need to play in that match. It was a weird decision for sure. There was some media heat on both of the center backs, so that could have been something to do with it, right? But I think at this point, I think Ange is probably preparing to leave at the end of the season. He just wants to win the Europa League on his way out at this point, right? So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think we're going to continue to see weird shit happen in the Premier League, and then we'll trot out our best 11, against Bodo-Glimt in both legs and just go all in, which obviously we have no other choice, right? There's no hypotheticals or conversations around investing in the Premier League at this point. We all know that, right? So
Yeah.
we're all in on the Europa League. We're either going to finish 14th or 17th.
Yeah.
Um,
So speaking of best 11s, some other notable things. I guess we still have a league game to come. We're just like pretty much glossing over the Liverpool game.
yeah.
So I guess that'll tell us more about potential lineups for Thursday. But James Madison didn't play at all, so he was on the bench though, so no injury from the penalty
Hmm.
situation. But he didn't play at all. Full rest for him. And then Udogi not in the squad.
Yeah.
I That was perplexing. I just didn't
Hmm.
don't know. I don't know if no injury was reported as far as I looked far and wide on Twitter. Couldn't find anything. So hopefully he's back because he was my man of the match. Oh, Frankfurt, shout out my man of the match, Destiny Udogie was
100%.
absolutely
It was phenomenal.
ridiculous in that game. He was
Best game of the
everywhere.
season without a doubt for him.
Oh,
No
for sure,
question.
dude. That was a monumental performance for him.
Yep.
And then Sonny still hurt.
Yeah.
You got anything on that? I don't know.
I mean, it's a bummer when your captain and your star who's given his entire prime to the club is injured. I never want that for anybody, but I'll also say that Tell's looked more dangerous than Son's looked in quite some time. Yeah, so I think it's Tell on Thursday. And I hope Son's on the bench. I mean, that's a guy you want in the locker room, available in these big matches for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we talk about Bodo, let's touch on Liverpool too a little bit. Like you just mentioned, we all know what's at stake on Sunday for Liverpool. They need 1 point at Anfield to win the league. I don't think there's a Tottenham fan on the planet that doesn't expect Liverpool to take all 3 points in this one, right?
Yeah. Nah. Yeah.
We're getting rolled. No question about it. And honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say on this one other than, like you said, it's going to be a good insight into what's going to happen Thursday. But I'm going to wake up, I'm going to watch the match because that's what I do, but I don't expect anything from this one.
No, we're going to get stomped. I mean, we've already gotten absolutely destroyed by Liverpool twice this season.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to play them like 4 times. It's pretty annoying. But yeah, they're good. Anfield's going to be absolutely insane. Like, I'm just looking forward to kind of taking in the atmosphere. Like Liverpool's about to win the Premier League in front of their fans for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Their last win was during COVID, and I feel like their fans have kind of been waiting for this moment in the stadium. So it's cool that we get to be a part of it on the losing end. So I'm excited to watch the game for that reason, and for the fact that Arsenal are not going to win the Premier League. It's April as well. They couldn't even take it into May this year, which is great. And then, the lineup, I bet we'll see some Archie Gray, Davies, Danzo, maybe a Basuma cameo. I'd play Mikey more, but clearly Ange Postecoglou wants him dead. So, yeah. And then, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the lineup, because that will definitely be telling for Thursday.
Yeah, I expect a few weird things. I honestly anticipate another 45 minutes for both Romero and Van de Ven. I don't know why. Just something tells me Ange will want to give him 45 minutes.
That would just piss me off. Like,
yeah,
I just
me too.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Kinski a game, bro. Vicario's looked so shit. Like, he's looked so bad. I know he has to play in Europa, but I'd honestly give Kinski a game. He kind of destroyed Liverpool that one time we played them. So
yeah, good call.
Free Kinski.
It's not a bad shout. But yeah, I'm gonna say like 4-0 Liverpool. We'll move on with our lives, right? They'll take the title. Credit to Arne Slot and everything he's done. Obviously, he inherited a wonderful squad, but Liverpool's an organization that we as Spurs could look to and learn from. I think at this point in time, they've done a really good job over the past 5 or 6 years, and just tied down Salah and Virgil van Dijk to 2-year deals, which is probably the most important thing other than winning the league that will happen for them this season. Those two are just both phenomenal in their mid-30s, which is pretty incredible. I mean, I'm 36 years old, and I don't look like Mo Salah. I'll just say that, right? So that dude is a beast, and he takes really good care of himself. And obviously, I still think Virgil van Dijk's the best center back on the planet at 33 or 34 years old or whatever age. So, credit to Liverpool and Arne Slot and the whole deal. And also shout out Ryan Gravenberch, who has deputized the 6 for them and probably put them in a position to not need to invest in a 6. It'd be nice if somebody at Spurs could do that. To bring it back to Tottenham. But yeah, anything else you want to say about this one before we talk Europa League?
No. Yeah. I'm looking forward to experiencing the atmosphere, the moment of.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Let's talk Bodo-Glimt. So to back it up to what we were talking about earlier, just a refresher for everybody. Lazio does get knocked out by Bodo-Glimt. We know that we'll play Bodo-Glimt now. We talked a lot on the show about the semifinal, potentially, if we got there, being Lazio, having to go to Rome, playing a super hostile, racist, fascist environment, which I was not looking forward to.
Yeah.
Bodo-Glimt, as you said, comes out on the favorable side of that quarterfinal. The only thing that concerns me a little bit about Bodo-Glimt is that we're going to have to go to the Arctic Circle and play on artificial turf. and we saw Lazio fall 2-0 up there. If there's anything I know about this club right now, it's that we've been up and down with our mental steadiness, right? We've seemed to be a little bit weak-minded in the way that we take on games at times. Other times, like at Frankfurt, quite strong-minded, right? So not condemning Spurs here by any means, but I think that leg's going to be tough up there. It's going to be cold. It's going to be on artificial turf. So yeah, Spurs. This is not a walk in the park, right? They've gotten to the semifinal. We really need to take 3 points, or obviously there's no points at stake here, but we need the win in North London before we travel to the Arctic Circle. That's my main concern.
Yeah, my vision was just give me 3-0 at home.
Be awesome.
Take it back to Norway and just finish it out whatever way you can. However you can, just get it over the line, and then you're heading to a European final. And one game, anything can happen. I mean, we beat Liverpool this season. We beat City this season. One game, who knows? So just dominate. There's no reason. There is no. We are the most talented team left in this competition by far. I'd say.
Yeah.
We're the favorites to win it in Vegas. There's no excuse not to win this in my books. At this stage, there's no excuses. We got the best possible draw we could have asked for. So if not now, I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know when it's going to happen. So
yeah, it's ours for the taking. And Ange talked about a special season all year. So we got everything to play for. And I like what you said about a 3-0. I think that allows you to go up to Norway. Almost reminds me of, we played Tamsmere. Is that what they were called earlier in the
Tamsworth?
Tamsworth, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to Tamsworth. Although in there they did sing Tottenham battered, blah, blah, blah.
No, not sorry. They're shit.
Yeah. But yeah, we did end up playing on artificial turf there, and really steady match. So again, if we can go up there and potentially hunker down and just focus more on moving the ball adequately and keeping possession more so than trying to put a couple balls in the back of the net, I think we'll benefit from that big time. I think we have to see, I hate this for Spence, but I think we've got to see the Udogie, Van de Ven, Romero, Porro back four again in that match.
I agree. Just for the first one.
Yep.
The second one, we can have conversations because, yeah, I think Spence is better suited there than Porro for the second one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
If we're winning, obviously.
Yeah. But that back four, I mean, they played together a lot over the past 2 years when everybody was available. I think that's kind of been the preferred back four for quite some time until Spence proved to be a disruptor. But I would go with that back four again and see if they can put up another clean sheet as they did in Frankfurt. In the midfield, I think it's pretty standard. I think you've got to go Bentaker. You've got to go Bergvall.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. You got to go Bergvall, and then the 10 is
Madison. I think.
I agree. I think it's got to be Madison. I think he's just okay.
I was just gonna say, as much as I think as much as the fan base loves Kulu and what he's done this year, this Europa League run has hinged on James Madison. I feel like Kulu has been somewhat of a non-factor throughout the Europa League. It's been all Madison, and I think we got to keep the momentum with Madison up.
Fully agreed, man. And Madison, my main reason for saying he has to go is I think he earned it against Frankfurt. I think he earned the start in this
and against Alkmaar, that second leg.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah. He's been good in the Europa League. He really has. And
he assisted the first leg against Frankfurt. I mean,
yep. Yeah, good shout. And Kulu's been a standout in the Premier League, but that's not been anything to write home about what we've done over there,
it's
right?
Tough. So it's tough to be I've been the best in the Premier League, but we're 16th. So,
yeah, I mean, whatever, bro. Yeah, and that's nothing against Kulu. Fantastic footballer who, fingers crossed, we can hold on to. That's a whole other conversation, right? But I think it's Madison, and then up top, I think you got to go tell Solanke and Johnson. I like the Richarlison shout, but I just don't see that happening. I think Tell needs to start. And I go Brennan because he's been putting the ball in the back of the net lately, and we're going to need that. So I don't expect anything flashy from him, but I just think he needs to find himself in the box on the end of a couple low crosses to find the net for us at least once, if not twice, in this match.
Yeah, I think Johnson and Tell is what you got to do. If Son can play, I would go Son on the left and Tell on the right. Just because Tell has looked good on both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's what I would do if Son can really play, if he's 100%. If he's not 100%, then I agree, Tell, Johnson. I just feel like Son and Johnson are just like, you're getting the end product. Like, they're not really like the technical, like 1v1 wingers that you want, but they're going to put in goals and assists. Mm-hmm. And then Tell and Odebear, maybe not as much of the end product, but they're going to create a lot of chances for you guys. And I think we need to find the balance of those pairings, like just one with the other, because when it's Son and Johnson, it's such a tough watch. And when it's Tell and Odebear, you just feel like you're kind of wasting a lot of opportunities. So I think Tell and Johnson or Tell and Son would be fantastic on the wing. And then, it's going to be Solanke through the middle. If I was picking the team, I'm going Richarlison. I just think he's been better recently. But obviously I love Dom Solanke as well. I hope he comes through for us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're two different profiles for sure. I don't think Richarlison has the hold up capabilities of Solanke. He's not going to be the striker to drop deep, right, and facilitate as much, which is kind of the staple of the Ange Postecoglou system. So my gut tells me he sees Richarlison as somebody to bring on late in the match when you need to find a goal and nothing more at this point, right? But I would have no issues with anything you're saying about Richarlison getting a go. He's putting the ball in the back of the net. Solanke has that penalty, but I think before that penalty, he hadn't scored since January, if I'm not mistaken.
January 4th.
Yeah, it's really rough for a striker.
And Richarlison has scored like literally every game he started this year.
Agreed. I think his last 2 matches he's played in, he's scored, if not 3. I love Big Richie, and I'm hoping that we get a look at him on Sunday at Anfield, and if he maybe takes his opportunity on Sunday, who knows what could happen. But I'm putting my money on Solanke getting the go in that match. On the other side of the bracket too, I think it's worth talking about that a little bit. We now know that Athletic Club will play Man United. Anyone who didn't see the Man United match, absolutely bonkers. I flipped over to Bodo-Glimt and Lazio, and I thought, Leon has this wrapped up. This is just done and dusted at this point, right? And somehow United finds 3 super late goals to get through the tie. Did you watch that one live?
Yeah, me and Chang watched the Spurs game, and then we watched both the games at the same time.
Nice.
And it was awesome. Yeah, it was
legit,
ridiculous.
Man. Just a wild ride.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Same. I mean, I don't think anybody expected United to have the bottle required to pull that off, right? But credit to them, they did. It's interesting because, I mean, anyone who is paying attention to football would say that Athletic Club is the clear favorites to get through this tie, especially knowing that the final is at their stadium in Bilbao, right? Be a tough place to go get a result if we get to the final. I personally am hoping United gets through. I think it's an easier match. I think Spurs versus United in Bilbao is a much more favorable match than Spurs versus Athletic Club in Bilbao. We've just kind of had United's number this season, right? We've taken 3 points from them every time we've played this season. So I personally, again, like to see Spurs versus United, which would honestly just be a pretty hilarious final when it comes to the season that both of these clubs have had, right? It would be just like absolute dross versus absolute shit, determining who can be the one to save their season, right? And there's a good chance that whoever loses that match, the manager is sacked, right? So it's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I think Amarin is much safer than Ange Postecoglou is, right? I don't know how fair that is, but it seems pretty evident that that's the case. But yeah, would you have a preference, United or Athletic Club in this one?
Dude, I don't want to play United.
Yeah.
I don't want to play him a fourth time. Like,
Yeah.
we beat him 3 times. Like, can we beat United 4 times in one season? That seems a little bit insane. So
Different United. It's a different United, but I hear you loud and clear.
it is, but we still have played Amorim once or twice.
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 You give him a third shot at Ange. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just
Yeah.
doesn't feel
Fair
good.
point.
It doesn't sit right, especially how we won the last one. Like, whew, it was definitely a sweat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I hear you, man. I just worry about the Athletic Club so much. They're so dangerous from the wide positions.
Yeah, Nico.
Yeah, Nico and Iñaki Williams both. Obviously, Nico's the standout at this point in time, right? But they just I watch a fair amount of La Liga. Haven't had a lot of time to watch soccer the past few months, right? And been watching a fair amount of Athletic Club, and they eat teams alive on the flank, and that really scares me against this team. I mean, we pretty much forego the flanks in our defensive third, right? So makes me nervous, especially knowing that they're at home. And for anyone who hasn't ever watched a match there, if you're able to catch a home match for Athletic Club, they're on ESPN Plus. That stadium is a fucking fortress, and those fans do not play. And I know you know this, but for the listener who maybe doesn't, the interesting thing about Athletic Club is they only allow players from the Basque region to play for their club, right? Or you at
Which
least
is
have to
why
have ties to the Basque
it would
region.
be absurd if we lost to them.
They're good though. They are good. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, for how strange of a rule that is, there is some sense in the strategy in terms of just a tremendous list of football players coming out of the Basque region, right? It is one of the hottest beds for soccer on the planet. So it's not like we're saying people have to come out of Iowa to play for this professional football club. And again, I know you know that, but yeah, it's a really unique club, and their fans are super, super passionate. I mean, imagine supporting a club where you know as a local fan that every player is also local, right? That just elevates the fandom and the connection to a whole nother level. So it's going to be a tough place to get a result. Either way, it's unfavorable, whether it's United or Athletic Club. It's going to be a tough ask. Spurs still got to get through Bodo-Glimt, so I'll try to keep myself in check here and bring myself back down to earth, because we do have what I consider to be a more challenging tie than I think looks on paper. But yeah, everything to play for. I think you said it best. There's absolutely no excuses for not getting through to the final, and I also think you were spot on in saying Spurs have to come away, 3-0. I'd even take a 2-0, right? But I don't feel good about a 1-0 win at home in the first leg, or a draw would be a disaster.
Draw is cooked. 1-0, I wouldn't feel great.
Yeah.
2-0 even, bro. I just we were up 2-0 on Zagreb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need 3. I need 3 to feel comfortable.
Yeah, I hear you for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. What do you think about Ange, man? Is his job safe if he wins this thing, or is he done?
I mean, I said it last podcast. I think no matter what happens, he's leaving. And it seemed like there was reports. Matt Law, Daily Telegraph, I think, said something similar, like no matter what, Ange might be going. So I'm going to take credit for that take on on the last podcast, because that's kind of what it felt like to me at the time, and I think that's where it stands no matter what. But for as much as I've criticized Ange, I'm still gonna get behind him. We got 3 games left that really matter, and if he can win 2 of those, and draw the second leg against Glint, win the final, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, be wonderful to see him leave this stop on his journey, winning Spurs that coveted trophy that we haven't lifted since 2008, and we haven't lifted the Europa League since the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This would be and interestingly enough, this is this trophy is rooted in the history of this club, right? Before
We
the
have the
Champions
most
League.
Europa League wins of all time, like wins in the
Yep.
competition.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think Sevilla holds the most trophies, if I'm not mistaken, in the Europa League.
They do.
But yeah,
But
that's an interesting stat. I really like that. And yeah, this was the preeminent trophy before the Champions League kind of just inserted
Cup
itself in the
Winners' Cup.
situation, right? Yeah, exactly. The Cup Winners' Cup. And one of the most famous nights ever at White Hart Lane was Spurs getting through Anderlecht in the final of the Cup Winners' Cup on penalties. So yeah, this competition is deeply rooted in the history and the DNA of this club, and I would be ecstatic if we won this competition. I mean, don't get me wrong, winning the Champions League is what we need to aspire to as a club, but something about winning the Europa League would just it would feel really good as a Spurs fan.
Oh yeah.
It'd be amazing, man. And it just feels like the timing feels right to me for this to happen, right? So got a lot of work to do. Like you said, everything to play for. I'd like to see Ange get it done on his way out the door. Also interesting, before we wrap here, to mention, we haven't talked a ton about it, but Spurs did bring in the CEO, Venkat Venkatesham, I believe is the name. And we talked about it briefly on the last show, right? But I think that does bleed into the idea that things are going to continue to change as a club. And now reports are coming out that Scott Munn will be relieved of his duties at the end of the season, which I think is probably fair.
Yeah, I agree.
David Ornstein alluded to that. I don't want to put words in David Ornstein's mouth. Wonderful journalist. He did not confirm that, but he did report that he was hearing that was the rumbling at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, was that Scott Munn is on his way out the door. I'll be very interested to see what happens with Johan Lange. But I firmly believe that Ange Postecoglou's time is done. And again, I'd wish him all the best and love for him to secure the Europa League before he wraps up his tenure. We're going to have to keep this one fairly short, guys. We just wanted to cover everything from a high level. We're going to come back Sunday after the Liverpool match. We're going to digest and recap Liverpool in thorough fashion, and then we're going to preview Max and I and whoever else is available. But for sure, Max and I, we're going to preview tactically Bodo-Glimt. So we're going to dive into Bodo-Glimt a little bit more, talk more about the intricacies of what we expect and what we want to see from the squad, right? So we'll break it all down. So have no fear. More content is coming before we face off on Thursday in North London.
I got one question for you before we wrap up. Arsenal win the Champions League, Tottenham win the Europa League. Do you take it?
Yeah, I do. And it's tough to think about Arsenal winning the Champions League, but we need this trophy. And so if the hypothetical is we can't win the Europa without them winning the Champions League, then I take it. And frankly, we don't have the luxury of worrying about other people at this point in time, in my opinion, as a club. We've just been a mess for a long time. And it takes me back to last year. Did I want us to throw the game against City so that Arsenal didn't win the title? I didn't, because I did. I know. And you're not alone. And I don't question anybody who wanted to throw that match. I totally understand it, and I wouldn't think anything of it. But it's just the same thing I'm saying now. I don't think Spurs have the luxury of doing anything other than going out and putting their best foot forward every time they play. And a little bit different of a situation here, but we need a trophy. We need the Europa League. We need European football next year. I do not want another season of just playing Premier League football. And it just so happens that European competition would be the Champions League. Now, don't get me wrong, we get absolutely fucking steamrolled in every match in the Champions League next year if we get there at this rate, right? But a lot can change. By the way, quick side note, shout Vincenzo Italiano, Bologna manager. That's my guy. I'm putting it out into the universe right now. That's who Spurs need to go out and get when they eventually do part ways with Ange Postecoglou. But either way, give me the Europa League at all costs. To answer your question, I take it.
Yeah, I can't take that deal. I just the thing is, we would have won the Europa League, and we get 3 days of joy until Arsenal just big bros us, just wins the Champions League.
Yeah.
It's just we've waited. I mean, I don't know, you were supporting back in 2008, maybe.
No, not quite. I
No.
mean, dabbling into Spurs, but it was like 2011 when I dove
I
in.
mean, I was 4, so I've waited my entire soccer watching life for the trophy. And if Arsenal won the Champions League 2 days after, it wouldn't be what I imagined it
I
when we
get it.
finally got one.
I
But
get it.
I totally get where you're coming from. That's probably a more mature approach, but I'm just imagining all the Arsenal fans in my life, like we finally won a trophy and we just get relentlessly clowned on because they won the Champions League.
I
It's
mean,
just
shit, we're gonna get clowned on regardless at this club. But I'll help you out, and I'll say that Arsenal, they have to play PSG, who looks to be maybe the most informed team on the planet right now. They're
they just
phenomenal. I mean,
lost their first
did they?
game in
Oh
40
well,
matches.
yeah, they have all eyes on next week. Vitinha, Jao Neves, maybe is the correct pronunciation, and then uh, Fabian Ruiz. That is
Yes.
a nasty midfield, and
And Zaire Emery off the bench.
I know, right? And so Arsenal's all high and mighty about beating Madrid. Madrid is shit this season. I've watched a lot of them too. Their midfield and their back line is absolutely broken. And the only way that they get results is their front three just pulling things out of their ass, right? So Arsenal had their way with Real Madrid. That's fine. They do not have the midfield. Their midfield's talented. Don't get me wrong. Now, everybody's hyped about Rice because of 2 free kicks. That's
Dude, he's
fine, right?
never scored one before that
I
game.
know. Right, Rice covers ground. He's a good midfielder, but he is nowhere near the level of any of the 3 starting midfielders for PSG. I expect PSG to get through Arsenal pretty easily. And if for some reason Arsenal does get through PSG, then either Barcelona or Inter is waiting on the other side. And those are two more midfields that are phenomenal. I mean, Pedri is the number 1 midfielder on the planet. I will not hear otherwise from anyone at this point in time. Gavi's fantastic. We all
Lucas
know.
Bergvall exists.
Right, yeah, fair enough, and maybe we can have that conversation someday. But right now, Pedri is clear. All right, and then Frankie De Jong. So that's a nasty midfield, and then Inter Barella, I think, is the number 2 midfielder on the planet behind Pedri
Oh,
at this
he's
point
so
in time.
nice. Yeah.
So good, man. And Hakan Chananoglu, I think is the
Kahanoglu.
yeah. That
Yeah.
dude is nasty too. Like he covers so much
He's really
ground, he
good.
wins so
Yeah.
many balls. So yeah, Arsenal they've got it.
You think
They've
they're
got a
fourth favorite?
heavy road in front of them if they are going to win the Champions League. It's going to take something special. So
Do you
they
think they're
won't.
fourth favorite?
Oh, they are in Vegas for sure. I think the joint favorites at the same odds are Barcelona and PSG. Oh, I take that back. Arsenal's third favorites and Inter
Okay.
is the fourth favorite, which I think is a massive miss from whoever's setting those betting odds. I actually, for the record, I may go throw a cheeky bid on Inter winning the Champions League. Just like throw $20 on it. We can bet via apps
Plus
here in the state of Iowa.
450.
Right?
Plus 450 for Inter,
Yeah.
plus 250 for Arsenal, plus 225 for PSG, and plus 200 for Barcelona.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, so Barcelona's
Yes.
the favorite. Now
Yeah.
Lewandowski's out, which is interesting. He's injured for the rest of the season. That's something to keep an eye on.
Barca
But
are pretty heavy. I mean, not super heavy, but they're minus 200 almost to beat Milan.
yeah, I think they probably will. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And Inter's a good squad, and if there's no Lewandowski, my question for Barca is, outside of Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, where else did the goals come from? Now
Ferran Torres, like it's gotta be, right? It's
he'll
gotta
start
be
up
the
top.
Ferran Torres experiment.
He'll start up top for sure. Now,
Yeah.
and then the more I said outside of Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, what a stupid thing to say. Those dudes are gonna bag goals for fun. Um, all right. Well, before we wrap, let's definitely shout out our sponsors and our lovely homes. Up in Finney Ridge, we got the Wits End. That is the original OG home of Seattle Spurs. And then as we've grown over the years, we have added down south. For those of you who don't know, in Puyallup, Rainier, Growlers, and Cascades, both are wonderful places down on the south side. So if you're on the south side, check one of those 2 spots out. If you're anywhere in the Seattle proper, get up to the Wits End, especially on Thursday. we'll make sure that we post on socials as to what's open and confirm everything before you head that way, right? But we know the Wits will be open. We'll check on everything down south. Get down there if you can. Watch Spurs. Biggest game of the season. Biggest game of the past 6 years, you could argue, right? Is this coming Thursday? There's definitely a conversation to be had there. But the point is, it's a big match. Get down there. Those three wonderful places are the sponsors for, as we always do here at Emerald Lilywhite. Take a look at the academy. Take a look at players on loan. Give you updates there. Max, you got anything worth noting?
Not too much to report this week. Luka Vuskovic own goal, if you guys care. But it's chill. Like, I think like he's honestly going to start for us next year potentially. So yeah, keep an eye on him. We were talking in the group chat, Will Langshear and Yang Min Hyuk. Yeah, I may have ruffled some feathers when I said that Yang is probably never gonna play for Tottenham. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Like, Will and Yang, they haven't had the loan spells that I quite hoped for those two.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a summer to come, and that's my favorite time of the year because all we get to do is talk about academy players.
Transfers.
But those championship loans, man, it's a tough league, and it's proven pretty tough for those two. But I'd love to see them blossom. But as of right now, maybe I'm leaning other directions for those guys. But obviously, haven't really given Yang much of a shot yet. But it's going to be interesting this summer. The rise of Williams Barnett.
Yeah.
Some other, Dane Scarlett, like, and the Langshear competing. Like, I don't know if either of those guys will be here. Richarlison making way potentially is interesting in that spot. We just have a lot of talent coming in this summer, coming back from loan. Donley. So we'll see what happens. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love the summer because I love roster movement. That's my favorite thing about sports in general. Roster movement, depth charts, etc. And that's when we really get to see it. So I'm hyped. But first, Europa League winners coming soon.
No doubt. Yeah, I love it. Let's get that bag, and then let's look to the summer. Emerald and Lilywhite, we're going to be active this summer. We're going to bring different types of content, new segments, that type of thing, right? There is often, I don't want to say a void to fill, but somewhat of a void to fill as the summer months, roll on for podcasts like ours and YouTube shows like ours. So regular content for sure, and you'll get to see some unique things. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you up to date with everything going on, both in North London and in the wonderful city of Seattle from a Spurs perspective. You can find me at Scott G. Bird. You can find Max at Going Limbs. You can find us at Emerald and Lilywhite. Most importantly, you can find Seattle Spurs at Seattle Spurs on all platforms. We are the official YouTube channel / podcast of Seattle Spurs. We represent Tottenham Hotspur to the city of Seattle. So be sure to follow Seattle Spurs on all social media platforms. And again, like and subscribe to the channel. Give us a follow. We certainly appreciate it. The goal of the show is to grow the brand of Tottenham Hotspur in the city of Seattle, right? And get your friends to the pub. Get Tottenham shirts on those neutrals, right? Keep it rolling. But for Max and myself, for everybody at Emerald and Lilywhite, we appreciate the time. From everybody at Seattle Spurs, we appreciate the time. Also, please do check out the email subscription list from Seattle Spurs at seattlespurs@gmail.com. Shoot us a note. Let us know you're interested. We'll put you on the mailing list. You're going to get all kinds of information about Spurs, Seattle Spurs, watch parties, who will be open for matches, holiday parties, all that stuff. You won't miss a beat. So make sure you sign up for the Gmail list. But again, for everybody at the Emerald and Lilywhite, we appreciate the time. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.